Some hotels are forgotten for a reason. They look normal from the outside, they have check-in desks, room keys, and lobby chairs that have not been touched in years, but behind the peeling wallpaper and the dusty front desks are true stories of people who checked in and were never seen walking out again. Today we are going through 10 of the strangest hotel mysteries that the world seems to have forgotten. It started with a woman who checked in under a fake name and left behind a mystery that Norway still cannot solve. In 1995, a woman calling herself Jennifer Furgate checked into the Oslo Plaza hotel with no ID, no credit card, and no luggage tags. She stayed in room 2805 for 3 days without leaving. When staff finally entered the room, they unfortunately found her passed away. Investigators quickly realized that the scene did not line up with her having done that to herself. The weapon had no fingerprints, all tags on her belongings were removed, and her identity has never been confirmed. Interpol still has no match for her face or prints. Room 2805 remains one of Norway's most famous unsolved hotel cases. Dozens of tourists crossed the Sahara and never made it home. All of them stopped at the same forgotten hotel. In the late 1990s, travelers moving through southern Algeria began disappearing. Nearly every missing person was traced back to one small desert guest house. People saw the victims check in, and no one ever saw them leave. Their rooms were later found with passports, cash, and bags untouched, which ruled out robbery. Authorities suspected kidnappings linked to armed groups in the region, but many victims have still not been found. The hotel stands abandoned today, half buried in the sand. A man walked into one of Canada's busiest hotels and somehow disappeared without ever passing a single exit. In 1983, George McKirby checked into Toronto's Royal York Hotel for a work trip. He spoke with coworkers that afternoon and then simply vanished. When staff opened his room the next day, they found all of his belongings neatly packed. His wallet and suitcase were untouched. No one saw him leave the hotel. Security footage from that time was limited and showed nothing useful. Police searched every floor, service hallway, and maintenance area, but no trace of him has ever been found. The case remains open and unexplained. A smell coming from a room that was supposed to be empty shut down an entire hotel. In 2009, staff at the Manila Wellness Hotel noticed a strong odor coming from a locked room. Maintenance forced the door open and found a deceased man who had checked in weeks earlier under a fake name. He had never paid, never requested housekeeping, and somehow went unnoticed long enough that no one realized he was missing. He carried no ID and was never identified. The incident scared guests and triggered a long investigation. The hotel closed soon after and still sits abandoned today. A terrified guest ran into the lobby in the middle of the night, screaming for help, and then disappeared forever. In 1987, a woman ran into the lobby of Oslo's Fagerborg Inn with no clothes and begging for protection. Staff covered her and called police. She insisted someone was after her, but refused to give her name. Moments later, she ran back upstairs, locked herself in the room, and climbed through the balcony door. Police searched outside, but she was gone. Her belongings were still in the room. No ID, no name, nothing to explain what she was running from. She has still never been found and never identified. Guests kept checking into specific rooms and never walking back out, leading staff to quietly shut down entire floors. In Mumbai's old Ambassador Hotel, several separate disappearances happened between the 1970s and the early 1990s. All of them involved solo travelers who checked in, stayed 1 or 2 nights, and then failed to check out. When staff entered their rooms, they found their belongings, but no signs of the guests themselves. Police investigated each case, but found no connection between them, no forced entry, no signs of struggle, no evidence the guests ever left the building. After the 3rd disappearance, the hotel stopped renting the rooms on that corridor. The floor has since been renovated, but longtime employees openly acknowledged the disappearances were real and remain unsolved. One room inside a historic Nevada hotel has a real documented case of a guest who vanished without a trace. In 1939, a man checked into room 219 at the Boulder Dam Hotel in Boulder City. He signed his name as M. Clark, stayed 1 night, and was seen by staff the next morning eating breakfast. After that, no one ever saw him again. His room was found with his suitcase, clothing, and a small amount of cash. Because Nevada was still developing the Hoover Dam region at the time, law enforcement assumed he wandered into the desert, but no body was ever found. What makes the case even stranger is that he left everything behind, including his only means of travel. The hotel kept his possessions for years until they were eventually destroyed. Room 219 is still available to guests today, though staff quietly mention the disappearance to those curious about the hotel's history. A viral elevator video made this one of the most well-known hotel mysteries, but the real story is stranger than people even realize. In 2013, 21-year-old Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. She traveled alone and had been blogging about her trip. Over several days, she behaved erratically around the building, and then she disappeared. Weeks later, maintenance workers discovered her body inside a rooftop water tank after guests reported strange tasting water. Security cameras captured her acting strangely in an elevator shortly before she vanished, which led to massive public speculation. Although the official cause of death was ruled accidental, investigators never determined how she accessed the locked roof or how she physically got inside the sealed tank on her own. The case is real and remains one of the most discussed hotel mysteries in the world. I still can't watch that elevator video without getting the absolute creeps. That's just a terrifying video. A man checked in, stayed one night, then disappeared so completely that investigators once thought he might not have existed at all. In 1997, a man using the name Stephen Gentry checked into room 218 at the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs. He paid cash, provided no ID, and kept to himself. The next morning, his bed was slept in, but he was gone. His suitcase, clothing, and toiletries were still in the room. Police traced nothing under his name. The fingerprints taken from his items matched no database. No one reported him missing. To this day, no one knows who he was or where he went after walking out of his room without taking a single personal item with him. The suitcase is still kept in the hotel's archives. A solo hiker checked into one of America's most famous historic hotels and never made it to the hiking trail he planned to explore. In 2007, a man staying at the Stanley Hotel left his belongings neatly arranged in his room and told the front desk he planned to go hiking early the next morning. A staff member saw him in the hallway that evening, and after that, he was never seen again. Search teams combed near Rocky Mountain trails, but found nothing. His room showed no signs of a struggle, and nothing was missing. His car was still in the parking lot, and without leads, the case eventually went cold. To this day, there is no confirmed explanation of what happened between his last sighting in the hallway and the moment he was supposed to check out. The hotel does not publicly discuss the case, but local authorities confirm the disappearance is real and still unsolved. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!